What is up, everybody? As always, I hope you're having a fantastic day. If you've been following me on Instagram, you know that I recently upgraded my setup once again. However, this time, instead of doing another desk setup tour, I want to share with you the things that are really worth upgrading in your own desk setup so you can have a space that makes you more productive, more creative, and just a space you want to hang out in more. If you're like me, you like to look around for new tech all the time, and it can get really easy to just splurge on a bunch of stuff and then just have a really cluttered space like my old desk was. And when I did this new setup, I really focused on making it as minimal as possible so it would allow me to be more productive and more creative. And today I wanted to share with you exactly the things I think are worth upgrading or spending your money on. More precisely, I split this video into three main categories. The first one is going to be the ergonomics. The second part is about the fun stuff, the tech, the gadgets, and the peripherals. And then the last part is about decor, which makes your space look all the way you want and it makes it a bit more unique as well. Of course, when it comes to ergonomics, it's a bit harder to talk about one specific product. Rather, you have to think about the whole setup as a whole, since it depends a lot on what you're doing, what your day-to-day is like, what your body is like as well. For example, I'm pretty tall, so when I'm sitting on my chair, my feet touch the ground, my desk is at the right height, everything is perfect. However, if you're someone that's a bit smaller, you might need to invest in something like a footrest. But for this specific video, we're gonna focus on the chair and the desk and how they need to interact with each other. Now, I can't tell you anything about the chair that I have, sadly, since I bought it for my dad's old workspace. When they moved, they had a bunch of them on sale and they were really good. However, it needs to be changed, so I'm going to talk about what I'm going to be looking for when changing it pretty soon. The first thing you want to look for in a chair is, of course, comfort. When you sit in it, you want it to be comfortable, and it needs to be adjustable so you can have the perfect height for everything, whether that be just the height of the chair, the height of the armrest. Even some of them have the back, you can move the back, for example. And also you want to look for lumbar support so that you can be at the perfect position all the time. You're not going to be inclined to be slouched, which can really help with your back, your neck, and even your head. Another really important thing to look for is that some chairs where they have a big cushion can get really hot and not really comfortable. So I'd recommend that you look into the comments of the product and look at the reviews and stuff to see if that's a problem with the chair you're looking into. While chairs can get really expensive, I think because we're all unique, you can still find really good deals. For example, IKEA still has some really good ergonomic chairs that you won't have to spend too much money on. Another important item for ergonomics that of course can get really pricey is the desk. And I'm not saying you need to get a standing desk, however, I think they are really a good investment for yourself. First, of course, you have the standing feature, which is really nice. It helps a lot to bring like a new perspective or bring energy throughout the day. I personally end up using mine for about a third of the day when I'm working here at home. And another thing we don't talk about as much is that even when the desk is at the sitting position, you can really adjust that to the perfect height. Most desks come at a standard height, which isn't perfect for everyone, of course. However, if you don't want to spend that amount of money on a desk, which I totally understand, another really good option, if you're maybe a bit shorter, is to adjust your chair to the desk, where you want to have your armrest at the same height as the desk. And then just get some sort of footrest to elevate your feet so that you're still at a comfortable position. If on the other hand you're really tall, maybe you could look at making the legs a little longer, adding extensions or something under the desk. And of course, depending on what your job is, you might need a larger or a smaller desk. However, in my experience, having a too large desk means that you're going to be more inclined to just put clutter on there. However, if I'm thinking of like digital artists, they might need really big drawing tablets on their desk, so they might need a bigger area. For me, I went with a 60-inch wide, and it's actually quite good. If I had gotten a bit bigger, there could have been a bit more improvement that would have done to my overall ergonomics, but I'm still really happy with that size. And now let's move on to the really fun stuff, the tech, the gadgets, and the peripherals. One of the biggest changes that I made to my current desk setup is I went back to having a single screen. I used to use my Mac as my secondary screen, and that's an upgrade that you might be looking into if, for example, you have a job where it's really useful to have, documentation maybe on a secondary screen and then your work on your main screen. It could be something really useful to get two screens or an ultra large monitor, for example. However, for me, it ended up just being another source of distraction where I usually have like YouTube videos or live podcasts instead of just having the podcast in audio form. And also, since I do most of my work in Figma, which is a design platform for mostly UI UX designers, and also with editing videos, I enjoyed having a monitor that was a bit higher than just ultra wide. So I ended up going with a 32-inch monitor, which allows me to have more overall space when I'm working in Figma, and also allows me to have a bit more view in the timeline when I'm doing videos. So kind of like the ergonomics, you really have to think about what your needs are and try to figure out than what would fit into your space. And also keep in mind that more screens might not always be the best solution. The mouse and keyboard combo is another space where you could really dig into and get a bunch of different stuff depending on what you like. However, for me, when it comes to keyboards, I really enjoy minimalist keyboards, and I wasn't really a fan of big, chunky, mechanical keyboards. Well, I still know that they can be really fun to type on and stuff. I recently found about the Lofree Flow, which is exactly what I needed. It's a mechanical keyboard that's still super slim, and it's very comfortable. The mouse, however, I would say is not so individual. Some mouse are just bad and some are just better. If we think, for example, of the Apple Magic Mouse, the ergonomics are just terrible, which means at the end of the day, you might have injuries in your wrist. And the one I would actually recommend is the one I'm using every day. It is the MX Master 3 by Logitech, and has a bunch of really awesome features which make the a bit higher price of around $130 seem really worth it. For one, it's really comfortable, really ergonomic, but also you can really customize the whole mouse to do whatever it needs to do in different apps. For example, in Figma, I have the buttons mapped to do different things than when I'm in like Photoshop or DaVinci when I'm editing videos. And also the thumb wheel is something you'll end up using a lot more than you think, of course, depending on what you do, once again. Another option that's a bit cheaper and a bit smaller is the M720 Triathlon by Logitech once again. It also offers really comfortable features, so if it's really one in your hand, it's really comfortable if you're using it for a really long time. But it's a bit smaller and also a little bit cheaper. It also works with up to 3 devices, but I would say the main attraction to that mouse is its form factor. It's not as big if you're someone that has to, like me, constantly move from home to the office. Carrying the MX Master 3 might be a bit too large in your bag. Another big improvement I recently did was in buying a set of speakers. I always listen to podcasts or music, and I was always using my AirPods Pro, which gave me a bit of headaches sometimes, not because the sound was bad, just because wearing intra-ear earphones is not the best for, well, comfort. And I decided to go with the Kanto U2 because of, well, their looks and also the sound quality they offer, also because they're Bluetooth. I know Bluetooth isn't really something you're trying to look for in quality audio. However, for me, it was just a lot more, it was more useful. It was a bit more easy to use as well for my different devices. So it's what I ended up going with. There are also really good, more budget-friendly options from Logitech that I've seen in other content creators' spaces. I'll try to link them below as well with all the rest of this. And then finally, we go into Decor. This is really a space where I think it's worth thinking about and taking your time so you just don't end up with a super cluttered space filled with decor like my old setup was. You really want to take your time and think about making it look nice and making it look kind of like yourself. For example, I really like cars, so I like to hang pictures of cars that I took. They're going to be on my website for sale. I just have to really figure out what company I want to work with for the printing and shipment, all of that. But the number one thing you should invest into for decor is cable management. And cable management solutions don't have to be expensive. You don't have to get fancy at all. You could just buy cable clips, just glue them under your desk and just clip all your cables, and it will do the job very well. The desk I got from fully offered a little rack. You just put all your cables in and it does the job really well also. And then if you're someone that likes to work, especially in the evenings, investing in lighting is a very, very good idea to help with eye strain and also just set a really good vibe. This is really an area where I'm lacking. I only have this desk lamp over there as well as another lamp on my shelves. But something that's really worth looking into if you like to work a bit later at night is something like a LED strip behind your desk, so that it gives a bit more light and you're not just working in complete darkness with the high contrast of your monitor, or even something like a monitor light if you do enjoy the look. I know some people don't. I personally do enjoy it. It's something I want to buy in the future. And I know it's really, really good for your eyes, and it really helps if you're working at night. Another item is a desk shelf. It's really, really worth getting one, especially if you don't have a monitor arm where you can really adjust the monitor wherever you want. Getting a desk shelf will raise your monitor just a bit, which can help to have it at perfect eye level, which is where you want for perfect ergonomics, but also offers a lot more options when it comes to organizing your whole setup. It gives you a bit more real estate if you have maybe, let's say, notebooks and stuff like that you want to place in there, or even if you want to have your closed laptop in there. The one I personally have was actually a gift I got from a collab on Instagram with a company called Woodsy Series, and I really do enjoy it. Especially, I like that it's really customizable. They have a bunch of different accessories you can buy. You just have to, screw them in and it just works. So I really enjoyed that from this specific desk shelf. When it comes to really tying the whole setup together, I think a nice desk mat really does the job very well. The one I'm personally rocking at the moment is the wool felt desk mat by. It also offers a lot more than just the looks. For example, my mouse moves over that desk mat a lot better than it does on my desk straight up. So it's something I think is worth investing into, but it's mostly for the look if we're being honest. And then the last part, of course, I think getting plants is a really good investment for your space. Plants do a lot of things. They can help with focus, with creativity, all of that, but they also just bring a lot of life into your space. And I just feel like it's fun to have plants you have to take care of every now and then. I think it's very calming as well. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.